welcome to this installment of the Camo Cook. This is where most of my recipes start, is right here in my vegetable garden. I like using the freshest ingredients. So I'm going to run through and show you how to make some of these fresh ingredients, like these Roma tomatoes and some of the bell peppers and basil that I got here. And we're going to turn that into an awesome pulled venison recipe. So join me in my kitchen for a while and taste some goodies. Hey, and welcome to my kitchen. The ingredients we'll have to work with today. Well, first of all, you need a roaster, the roasting pan. It's going to be big enough to fit all of your meat in. I'm cooking up a big batch of pulled venison today, so I'm going to use a big roasting pan. So, I got probably 15 pounds of just chopped up venison. Doesn't have to be in any particular size. It's all going to cook down and it's all going to pull together. So what I'm using, I got chopped up mushrooms. I got some finely minced green bell pepper, finely minced onion, and also some celery. The keys to these ingredients when you're making pulled venison is to chop them up really small. You want them to pretty much dissolve completely in the dish. You don't want the big chunks of vegetables not in the pulled venison sandwiches. But I've also got diced up Roma tomatoes, fresh basil, and then instead of the normal beef bouillon cubes that you'd normally use, this is what I like better. This particular brand is better than bouillon. It's an actual beef base instead of the bouillon cubes. It gives you a much better flavor, and it also gives you a lot less sodium. So if you really want to cut back on your sodium when you're making something like this, use the beef base instead of the bouillon cubes. I'm going to want to start off by putting your venison into your slow cooker, into your roaster, and adding your beef base, a couple of quarts of water, depending on how much meat you got, and you pretty much want to fill it up about halfway over the meat. It'll work fine. I like to go as far as to even add chicken base to go along with the beef base, just to get a little more depth of flavor. So I'll stick a little bit of the chicken base into it too. So I got chicken base and I got beef base. And also sprinkle it with a little, what I like to use is sea salt and pepper. The reason I use sea salt is same thing with better than bouillon. It's got a lot less sodium, but still giving you the same salt flavor to it. I'm going to give that a little mix around here. And I'm going to start adding my vegetables. Like I said, you wanted a fine mince, or almost a mince, at least a very small dice, so that your vegetables can totally and completely dissolve into there, leaving behind nothing but the flavor. You don't want the big chunks falling out of your sandwiches. So with this, I'll add about a cup and a half of the chopped up green bell pepper, about a cup and a half of the minced onion, and about a cup and a half of the celery. It's starting to smell good already. It's nice and cooked. I like using as much of the fresh vegetables and fresh herbs and spices as I possibly can, because nature didn't make preservatives, so I don't like using them either. Yeah, let's take another, say a cup and a half of the diced up Roma tomatoes. Those will all completely dissolve on you, leaving behind nothing but the flavor. The reason I use the Roma tomatoes, it's a meatier, sweeter, a little less acidic than your normal tomatoes. That's why they use it in sauces like marinara, pizza sauce. It normally uses Roma tomatoes instead of the, say, beef steaks or the sandwich tomatoes that you normally buy. I got some freshly picked basil here. Just took that out of my garden. You don't have to worry about chopping these up. Basil leaves, after a few hours in the slow cooker, will pretty much dissolve completely. Once again, leaving behind nothing but the flavor to interfere with your meat. I take the stems off. Stems won't completely dissolve on here or nothing. Give that another little quick mix. Because it's venison, you got the most important ingredient. Garlic. Gotta have garlic and onion when you're cooking venison. So I'll throw a few tablespoons of the garlic in there. Venison, use a lot of garlic. Helps take out some of the gamey flavor. Plus it just tastes good. Oops. I almost forgot my mushrooms over here. I got just some white button mushrooms. Those are pretty much dissolved in there. I got about a cup and a half of that as well. Lots of flavor cooking into this. Oh. Now that that's all done, throw the cover on it. Cook it on a low to medium heat for, well, about 8 hours, maybe 6 hours, depends on how long it takes to actually, you know, break apart the venison, get it fully cooked. So, I don't know, come back when it's done. Well, the distinct advantage to me cooking this in a slow cooker is I got plenty of time to go hit up the range. Because after this recipe, I'm going to need to restock my freezer. Well, it's been a couple hours now since we started that up. Let's go back and take a look and see how it looks. It's starting to look delicious now. Still got a few hours. Meat's cooked, but it ain't quite falling apart yet, so that'd be a good time to talk to you about thickening. A lot of people, they'll fry up the meat before they actually cook it. It's called a pan roux to thicken it because it adds the flour from that. But what I like to do is to mix an actual roux. So I get equal parts by weight, butter and flour. Just want to mix those together until it's just all nice and just combined. Then just before, say about the last half an hour to 45 minutes of cooking, you're going to want to add this flour and butter mixture to it, and that'll thicken it up. So as I sit back here to enjoy my pulled venison sandwiches here, watch a little hunting shows, I'd like to take a second to thank you for tuning in to our first installment of the Camo Cook. A lot more recipes to come, and I hope you're planning on sticking around for it. It's good. I need to get back to my home shows.